Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for being here Tuesday, September 16th. Already over halfway through September. Crazy stuff. Jaguars are 2 games into the 2025 regular season. They're 1-1, obviously being 500 through 2 weeks. Not quite good enough. It's not where it should be, right? The Jaguars, they beat the brakes off the Panthers. They should have beat them by even more. They lost to the Bengals at the very end, right? I mean, like they were winning the whole game. They should not have been in position to allow the Bengals to get back in that game. I mean, they were the much better team in both of those games, but you don't have moral victories in the NFL. You don't. So what are the areas that the Jaguars need to improve? That's what we're going to talk about here in this episode. I'm fairly optimistic overall. I really am. But there's some areas we're going to talk about the Jags need to improve. Excited to get into it. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. You can also check out genjag.com/shop. Pick up some new Duval gear. Support the channel. Look good while doing it. So, yeah, obviously, Brian Thomas Jr. needs to get tough, right? You can't play scared. He was playing scared, wrist injury, whatever. It doesn't matter. If he can't play, don't put him out there. He needs to get tough. He needs to improve. Yes, we've talked about all that stuff a lot. But really, to me, like Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas Jr., Liam Cohen, they need to figure this out. They need to. A lot of it's on Brian Thomas Jr. right now, figuring out how to not be scared of contact, right? Yes, absolutely it is. But if you're talking about holistically looking at this offseason, this preseason, this regular season, the first week, Brian Thomas Jr. was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I had a little bit more of the blame on the Trevor Lawrence to Brian Thomas Jr. connection in week 1 on Trevor Lawrence, right? This week it was, squarely on the shoulders of Brian Thomas Jr., but maybe Liam Cohen can figure out a way to get these guys going a little bit better as well, offensively. So they need, and he's the head coach, obviously from like a player management, human management, like figuring out how to get the best out of Brian Thomas Jr. and then also dialing it up from a schematic standpoint for Trevor and Brian Thomas Jr. to be the most effective that they can be playing together because, even early last year, they were much more effective than they have been to start this year. So this needs to get figured out ASAP. Brian Thomas Jr. is too talented to play scared. Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. are both too talented to not be able to have this connection. And it's on all three of them and obviously the entire offensive staff to figure this out. But they've got to figure it out. That's the biggest thing. I mean, if they figure that out, they would easily be 2-0. They would probably have the best offense in football. Whether you look at points or, EPA or whatever. I honestly think if they have figured this thing out over the first 2 weeks, they would be sitting really freaking pretty right now. But the wide receivers in general need to stop dropping the ball. I mean, they're tied for the league lead in drops again. De'Ami Brown dropped a big first down in week 1 that should have been easy. He dropped an easy touchdown catch in week 2, which is another play that would have won the dang game. And De'Ami Brown has been mostly very effective for the Jaguars. It's just like you can't have as many drops as you've had. Bottom line. Obviously, Brian Thomas Jr.'s dropped the ball a little bit. Travis Hunter's dropped the ball a couple times. So you're going to have drops in the NFL. You're going to have drops at any level of football. They need to be less impactful drops. Like you can't drop easy touchdown passes. They need to be reduced percentage-wise. You just can't have that high of a clip of drops. The Jaguars need to figure out how the heck to cover a wide receiver 1. You have to have a better plan than they have had in the first 2 weeks. And I do say that really much more about week 2. In week 1, yes, like T-Mac ended up having a pretty good game. A lot of that was really kind of garbage time, to be completely fair. So still, T-Mac had his way a little bit. Jamar Chase went crazy. T. Higgins, I consider a wide receiver 1 level player, like an elite level player. So you're talking about, even if you don't want to say he's an elite receiver, T. Higgins, he's probably a top 10 receiver. I mean, I don't think I would take 10 receivers over him. Jamar Chase may be the best receiver in football. Tedero McMillan was a top 10 pick and the top wide receiver only selected in this draft class. So there's a lot of big, physical, talented athletes, good pass catchers that they've gone against so far. There's no denying that. But there's a lot of good, physically talented, athletic receivers throughout the league and throughout the rest of the Jaguars' schedule. You have to be able to figure that out and do a better job. And you can point to the man coverage, right? Especially against the Bengals. I was talking with Gus about that on his show, Duval 22. Make sure to go subscribe to it. Duval 22. Gus Logue is doing a tremendous job over there, both with his writing and on his podcast. But the Bengals were basically perfect when the Jaguars went to man coverage. So yeah, that does track with like the Jaguars' struggles. This is not a group that really looks like they'll be very good in man coverage overall. And then also when you've been in man coverage, you've been sending extra guys to rush the quarterback. I don't think that you can sit here and say the Jaguars can't play man coverage moving forward. The Jaguars can't rush 6 moving forward. It's early. This season is like an infant. It's like a 1-year-old. It's a baby. Like there's 15 games left in this regular season. Week 1 and 2, they offer a lot to build from, a lot to learn from, but they are not defining of a team, of a season. So I don't want to sit here and say they can never play man coverage. Maybe it's just the fact that when they did play man coverage, their corners got beat by 3 of the most talented guys out there. Especially Jamar Chase was really the problem. I mean, Jamar Chase was the problem. Yes, you had one miscue against T. Higgins. Other than that, Tyson Campbell locked up T. Higgins. Other than that one play. But yeah, you got to have a better plan because Jamar Chase went off. And look, the week before, Jamar Chase didn't do anything. And maybe it's a situation where, if Jamar Chase has a bad week, the next week he's going to go off no matter who the hell he's playing because he's just that good. Maybe. But I think they need to do a little bit better job against elite receivers. And that's hard to do, obviously. But that kind of leads me to my next thing. Like, I think you need to get Travis Hunter out there on both sides more. I do. Especially when you're playing a team like, the Bengals with 2 great receivers. You need him. You really need him because to me, when I'm watching him cover, he looks already like the best cover corner they have. And he should be. I mean, he's the most talented cover corner they have, easily. He is. And he's a damn good receiver too, in my opinion. So you need him out there a lot. And I like that they got him over 40 snaps on both sides this week, but might need even more. Especially in big games. Jaguars do have a pretty big game coming up. You got to reduce the pre-snap crap on offense, whether it's false starts, illegal shifts, whatever it is. And I don't put that on one person. It's not on just Liam. It's not on just Grant Udinski. It's not on just Trevor Lawrence. It's not on just Travis Hunter. It's not on just XYZ. Everybody's got to get that together. They do. And they did, to be fair. They did. It was a weird stretch where loud crowd noise for sure, all that stuff. But yeah, you got to reduce that. And again, I think not only is this season in its infancy, this regime, this coaching staff, this offensive plan, this group, it's all in its infancy. It's all brand new. So I think they can get it figured out, but they need to. I think you got to come out a little bit more fired up after the halftime break. I don't think they did a good job with that either week, really. I think they need to do a better job just as a team coming out of the halftime break, playing a little bit better to start the third quarter, which that's coaching, that's players holding themselves accountable. That's everybody has to do that. Walker Little looks like he needs help against elite players. I mean, you've seen him go against good guys before and hold his own. He did not hold his own against Trey Hendrickson, and it's a shame because really the rest of the Jaguars offensive line did a pretty damn good job. Walker Little did not do a good job. So I think you're going to probably need to chip Brenton Strange, LeQuint Allen. You know, you're going to have to go hit Danielle Hunter. Usually Will Anderson's on the left side, so against Anton Harrison. Usually Danielle Hunter's on the right side against Walker Little. You know, defensive right, offensive left. Yeah. You're going to probably need to chip and release a lot. Hit those guys, make them feel it. I don't think Walker Little, based on what I saw last week, can hold up against Danielle Hunter. I really don't. Trying to remember. I'm going to have to go back and look at this right now. Not great podcasting, but we're going back to 2024. And we're looking at Walker Little against the Houston Texans. Why not? So week 13, he played against the Texans. He only allowed one pressure. I mean, that was an uncharacteristically bad game from Walker Little, even against good competition. I don't know if he's ever given up 4 pressures in a game, and he struggled. So maybe Walker Little just needs to get his head on straight and you know, come correct this week. But maybe you need to chip and release a lot, especially against these Texans. That's going to be huge. And you got to beat the damn Texans. That's not a micro thing that they need to fix right now. That's macro. That's this organization needs to beat the Texans. They have not beaten the Texans in Jacksonville in a very long time. That is unacceptable. Texans are coming into Jacksonville this week, 0-2. I don't give a crap about their psychology, about how they feel. And the Jaguars shouldn't either. It's business and it's personal. They need to focus more on the business and then allow the game to come as it is. Azeez Al-Shaair, he was still hitting people last night. I saw it. He will still try to bring the smack down, and you need to make sure you're protecting your guys. You need to make sure you're coming correct mentally, prepared for this football game. You got to beat the Texans. Because if you beat the Texans, put them in an 0-3 hole that is a difficult hole to climb out of. And then you're just worried about the Colts. So that's where I'm at. Jags have a lot of areas to improve. Still a very young season. A lot of things to be encouraged about as well. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Look at, like, statistically how good the Jaguars are in a lot of categories after 2 weeks. I really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. You can also check out genjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear. Y'all have a good one.